welcome guys. Welcome to another video. This is the float locker. Just doing another, not really an update, but this is something I want to talk about. But before I do, I want to just show you my website, thefloatlocker.com. Here you can find, everything from my portfolio performance, although I haven't really been updating it, but I will have a blog post out shortly to show the update of the performance, which has been very good. I show detailed trading stats. I've only done one so far, so I do need to do an update on that. Market's just been on fire, so it's juggling that with just my time off. I enjoy my time, so it's been tough updating that. But I will get another update on that to show my trading stats that will show all the details of how my performance has been in the Webull account, and just some education and information on options trading, mainly options trading, but like where to get resources, how to learn. A lot of people always ask me how they can learn how to trade options. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, so I will point you in the right direction, just to kind of shorten that learning curve, right? Because this space is very hard to learn, and you're trading against the top financial institutions in the world. So they have the world-class software setups, computers, right? You're trading even against algorithms and computers, right? Robots are trading and have been a big part of this market over the past 10 plus years now. So you're up against the professionals, right? So if you're out there just slinging options or not understanding what you're doing, you might get lucky, especially in this bull market, but when it turns and things get choppy again and it goes back to where it was, it's gonna be very difficult to trade and very difficult to stay profitable. So it's actually a good time to learn how to use options if that's your trading strategy, and just learning how to stay safe. Stay small. Give your trades room to breathe, right, according to your risk profile, your trading time horizon. However, you're a swing trader, day trader, long-term investor, it's just important to know that, and how to use options to really maximize your profits, right? It shouldn't be your only trading strategy. You shouldn't be just buying options, right? There's a time to buy options, and it comes with understanding how options work, how it's levered, how theta decay plays a component into your strategy, understanding how to take a trade, depending on the set, on what the chart is telling you. So sometimes it's good to buy options. I do it too. Sometimes it's good to do a debit spread. Sometimes it's good to sell premium, right? If you're unsure during times of volatility, right? So there's a lot that comes into play, but I would suggest going through the education portion of my website and just going to those resources and taking the time to learn. You're not going to learn it overnight. It took me a couple of years to get a real good grasp on it. So if you're really dedicated to doing this and want to make money in the long term, you have to put in the work. You have to understand this. I actually don't suggest anyone to start trading options when they're starting out. I tell them, just learn stock, learn how to trade stock, learn how the market works, understand it, trade small. There's no commissions, right? You guys have it easy. Like back in 10 years ago, you were paying $10 just to buy a position, and then to sell it, you would have to pay another $10 just to get out of the position. You're already down in the whole $20 without even doing anything, right? So you had to make up that $20. So you felt compelled to go larger than you were comfortable with, just to make it, quote unquote, worth it, right? Nowadays, zero commission. So you have no excuse. You can trade 1 share, 10 shares, 100 shares, whatever you feel comfortable with, and prove to yourself that you can be profitable. Prove to yourself over the course of 6 months or even a year of just doing trading small and just not trying to make money. Just prove to yourself that you can be profitable. And from there, you can start upping size. You start increasing size, get comfortable, and then it's just rinse and repeat. Just keep doing that. Prove to yourself, get used to it, up your size, right? And that's how you learn it. It's going to take years, right? So especially in the beginning, everyone's trying to make money, right? And especially if you're new, I understand it, I get it, but there's so many tools out there now, so many resources to learn. Back, 10 years ago, it was very tough. It was like just learning on your own, right? Just kind of paving your own way, blowing up accounts, right? I mean, I've blown up my fair share of accounts, just trying to learn, and I just persevered and just kept with it, right? Like a lot of people, they tend to just quit, which is, it's understandable, because it can be nerve-wracking, if you don't know what you're doing, and you play with large size thinking, everything's going to work, or the market's going to work because you thought this technical indicator told you that it was supposed to work and it didn't work, and then you get pissed off. I understand all that. I totally get it, and the market doesn't owe you anything. It just does what it does. It takes its data and its info and presents it to you. says here, this is where we're at. This is what the price is telling you now. This is what people think it's worth now. This is what all the participants are doing now, right? That's what it's telling you. And you gotta just have your risk in check, understand that, if as long as you stay small, not only can you weather through volatility, but staying small, you can also play other plays, right? Spread out, you kind of just spread out your risk instead of being like half your account into one position, waiting for it to work. You get impatient, you sell at the bottom, and then it rips in your favor, and then you're sitting there pissed off, like, fuck, like what's going on? And I totally get it. You stay small, you can weather that. Let it work. If it's not working immediately, let it work. Go on to another play. Use the money that you were going to use when you were thinking about going half in or your full account size into one position. Let it work. No matter how small your account is. If you start with $5,000, $2,000, I'm even showing right now on my Webull account. I started with 2,500, right? And just grew it slowly over time, being patient, right? That's all it takes. Find good setups, be patient, have risk parameters set, and just trade, right? And if you're trading and you're very anxious or you're having to check your phone every minute of the day, you're swing trading something, you're in too large. You gotta size down, or get off those weekly options, right? You'll do nothing but lose. 90% chance you're gonna lose on your money trading weekly options. Just stop it. Just leave it be. The only purpose for weekly options is to sell premium. It's for premium sellers. Those are the ones that are coming out ahead. So maybe every once in a blue moon you can use it to day trade or do a quick scalp, but it shouldn't be your main strategy, right? So there's a time and a place for them. So anyways, that's my rants on that. So yeah, so what I want to talk about in this video is just the importance of the cons, right? The consequences of trading actively. So if you're if you're a day trader, obviously you're very active, but like say I'm talking in a swing trader sense, or even like a long-term investor, right? You don't want to trade actively. You want to let trades work, right? And you want to map out your plan on a macro level. So let's see here. So let's look at a chart here. Look at a chart of Bitcoin, right? This is one that I want to talk about. Look at the price. Look where it's come, right? It's at over $52,000 right now. That's insane, right? Like people are just like, how is it going up, right? How does it keep going up, right? Who knows? I just know there's buyers out there, right? It's telling me there's buyers. So here we have a monthly chart showing the full shebang right here, right? The full picture of Bitcoin. This year, that was 2017 to 2018. End of 2017, that whole bull run, right? That people up here at the top were taking out a second mortgage, buying crypto on credit cards. Everybody and their mom was talking about it. I even saw old like people that probably have never traded in their life. They were literally putting out ads, right? Video ads, talking about Bitcoin IRAs, right? Like people telling them like how much Bitcoin is going to change their life, right? And how rich they got, right? Like it was insane. Like everybody was talking about it. Everybody was in, right? And then the crash, right? So we had a couple of years, right, of it to consolidate this huge run, right? And rightfully so. And looking back at the chart, you're like, man, I wish I would have held, right? Hindsight's 2020. Right? Looking on the monthly chart, this thing was still bullish. It was holding the 50 EMA on a monthly level. But nobody looks at the monthly chart. Everyone looks at the daily. Everyone looks at the 15-minute, the hourly, right? They want the now. They want to get satisfied. They want that gratification instantly, right? And that's the problem. So I'm here to tell you, you gotta have a long-term look, but be smart about it, right? Don't buy up here, right? Don't buy up here and go through all this pain, right? So we're gonna go to the weekly. Monthly looks insane, right? Eventually it's gonna have to pull back, but it doesn't have to right now, right? So you gotta be smart. So here I'm gonna kind of go over some things of what I saw because I got into Bitcoin around $8,000. That's when I initially got in. I traded it in from the end of 2020 to 2019, or sorry, from the end of 2019 to 2020 when it had that run as well. So as you can see here, I decided to create a tweet in September just to kind of follow the price action, put my thoughts out there, right? And to show like what I was thinking during those trades, because I think it could be helpful for anyone in trading, right? Like learning how to stick to a plan, right? Don't listen to what other people say, right? If it doesn't, people have a tendency to veer other people off of their plans, right? And especially like a security like Bitcoin is very volatile, very hard to hold, right? And especially if you have, people talking in your ear, confusing you, right? And it could get really ugly, right? Like you'll be trading in and out, and you're not sticking to your plan, right? So here, September 2019, Bitcoin was worth about $10,000. I was already in between 8 and 9K. And I said, and my plan was just to accumulate. I'm gonna go back to the chart. I wanted to accumulate. So here we're gonna go back. Let's just go back a few years here. September last year, right around this area, I was buying, and I set up an account in Voyager because they have an auto buy feature, and they also have no commissions. So I'll put the link in the description below so you can get some free Bitcoin if you're interested. But it's actually really good for dollar cost averaging and not worrying about like precision trading, right? Like if you don't need to like trade actively, Voyager is pretty good. It's actually really good for just investing long-term dollar cost averaging, just buying Bitcoin without having to worry about it. And it does it all for you, right? So that's what I did. I set it up. Every week I was buying Bitcoin and some other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, some others. So I set it to buy, and I just let it go, go through over time, right? So as the price started increasing, I posted some more thoughts on Bitcoin. So here, September 23rd, like a little over a week later, people were talking about the 9,800 CME level. I was like, why is everyone freaking out? Stick to a plan. You want to hold. I was basically saying you want to hold this longer term, right? You don't want to trade. People are leverage trading, blowing up accounts. Like the crypto's already leveraged. Like it moves so much that why are you compounding that risk, right? It makes no sense. And if you're doing it because you think you don't have enough money to trade crypto, then you're in for a bad surprise because Bitcoin will wreck. It would just wreck you, right? Like I mean, I just see so many people getting wrecked. You see all these liquidations, and it's just terrible. Like, why don't you just buy it and hold it? You would make more money in the long run. Buying it every week, use some spare cash, buy it every week, during this time. So, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's thinking, oh, 9,800's come in. The thing was Bitcoin was trading around 10K. That's like $1,000, right? Like, who cares? Like, you got to risk accordingly. Like, you have to understand how much Bitcoin can move. So you size in accordingly, right? Here in October, like a month later, already nearing 14,000. I was like, who was buying when they were crying like I was? Every week, I just kept to my plan, kept buying every week, no questions asked, right? So I just kept accumulating, already up 50% since September. So then here on this tweet, November 5th, probably like a little over a week, couple weeks. I said I believe we're in a new active sequence here. Up 50% since 9 10K. And I think I thought at the time we could test 18,000 in the short term. I was telling, I'm actively trading the stock market. Crypto has become more of an investment vehicle. Like I said, going back, just investing, having a plan long term. I felt that, crypto was bottoming, and I felt like it was a good risk to reward to buy something, right? So I was at 15,000 at the time of that tweet. As you can see here, I'll show the picture. You don't have to sit there and do all this technical analysis, using all these lines, freaking Fibonacci's and all that. Like, I mean, yeah, if you're a day trader, you're very active. I can see that. But if you're just buying it to invest in and wait for that macro move, you should be able to look at a chart for like a couple minutes or even 30 seconds and just determine, okay, we're at 15K, we're breaking this previous high. Cool. 10K, if we get below there, next to trade. So make that your risk, size in accordingly, right? To risk whatever you're willing to lose if you break 10K, right? So that's it. You on a macro level, that way you avoid all the volatility, all the chop that you get daily, right? So that was that tweet. And then we have here pulling up a weekly time frame. I said Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. I wouldn't start any new positions here. On the other hand, if you're in from when I was accumulating in the 9 to 10K range, I'm not even convinced to sell yet. If you're nervous, take some profit, but leave some for the ride. I just don't think we're done. I had so much conviction in this trade. I just felt like it wasn't done. We broke above 12K. We held key level, right? I felt like it was just starting. It's going to create that FOMO, that buying pressure, right? We've had a long time of just consolidating, chopping around. And I think it was time, especially after the flush in April or March last year, because of the pandemic. Huge volume. If you were watching Bitcoin on that day, it was so much volume. I mean, I didn't buy in there because it was just crazy. Like, I mean, you had to be insane to actually buy on that dip. And I regret not doing it, but you're just kind of like, holy shit, is the world gonna end? So yeah, It was tough to buy. So I just waited for it to show me and prove to me that it's getting ready to go. So that's what I waited. I gave it a few $1,000s of, you know, left a few $1,000s per Bitcoin on the table, but to have peace of mind. I think that's ultimately the goal. You have peace of mind in your trade, I think you'll be very successful. If you're anxious, you know, you're in for a world of hurt. So here, November 30th, an update, up 100% on on Bitcoin. We didn't break all-time highs at the time. That's when we touched around 18K. You can see here on the chart, or 19K, right? You can see there. I still had conviction. I think it was getting ready to go. Like, people are starting to get excited. People are buying the dips, right? You can just tell. You can see the volume. You can see the buyers coming in on all the dips, just buying it up. And then boom, $26,000. Been buying the dip. I had a measured move that I think we would see 35K soon. And you know, I was sticking to that plan until this day, until January. Just kind of, I just felt like I was in too long. The position was pretty, it was, you know, it pretty much tripled, right? It more than tripled. So I'm like, you know what? I just got to take some profit. I talked myself into not holding until 35K, but still at 29,000, that's a decent return, right? I just felt like, you know, let's take some profit. You know, you never know, right? You never know what could happen. So I took some profit. It was close enough to my 35K target as possible. And then, of course, the next day, it hit almost 35K right there. If I would have just waited one more day. But you know what? It is what it is, right? So just kind of been updating here. You can see it on my pinned tweet on my Twitter handle, float_locker. Float locker, you can see it right there. But yeah, just follow me and you know, follow the tweets. But see, what I want to talk about here, in addition, it's just sticking to your plan, right? And not trading actively. Right? If you trade actively, let's go back to the chart here. So I'm gonna go on the daily and just kind of look this over here, right? So if we go back to like September last year, right? I was buying in this area, right? Buying all through here. I actually stopped buying before we hit 20K. I stopped my auto buys. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I just felt like I had enough. I had enough Bitcoin, enough crypto. I was willing to kind of just let this market ride out, and then you know, when the cycle is over and it resets, I'll start reallocating. Right, so I didn't want my average too high. So I'm trading with the crypto that I have now, and it's been phenomenal. Ethereum, Bitcoin. So here I want to talk about, you know, a lot of people, especially in Bitcoin, they trade very actively. They want to try to time the top. They want to time the bottom. You know, they're scalping in and out constantly. First of all, you have commissions. You're making your broker rich. You buy in and out of things. You think you're selling the top up here, buying this dip, selling that top, buying this dip. No one's doing it perfectly. So first of all, you're making your broker rich with all the commissions you're paying, because commissions are ridiculous. So stop doing that. Follow a macro trend, right? Right now, oh, it's looking perfect. Momentum is really good. We're holding key levels. You know, I mean, there's no reason to sell here. I've been holding most of my crypto. I actually added on the day that on this day when Tesla announced that they were invested into Bitcoin. I was like, oh, this is a huge catalyst. I went ahead and added to my, you know, I still had some Bitcoin. You know, I sold most of it, but then I still had some. So I added to my position here, broke out of the highs, right, and it's still going. You know, I watch the price action, make sure on a macro level, daily closes. You know, wait for the dailies to close. You know, the chop will scare people, right? So you have to have a plan. And I just think actively trading crypto isn't the way to go. First of all, commissions, right? Like as I said, commissions are tough. Not only that, I'd say, like, if I was actively trading crypto, I probably wouldn't. If I sold, like, say if I sold the top, say when it hit 35K, right? Like, yeah, say like it hit this, like 40K, right? I timed the top and I'm like, yes, I'm out, right? Like, I took my profits, made a huge gain, came back down, chopping around. I'm like, oh man, this thing might go. You know, here everybody was talking about saying 20K. You know, and yeah, it could have happened. It could have failed here, and it could have went all the way back down to 20K, or even worse, right? You're like, oh my god, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, you have you know, bearish indicators here. You know, MACD is getting bearish, right? Or MACD was bearish here, right? And people are like, oh shit. Like, if it was me and I sold the top, and I was looking like, okay, I need to get back in on a good dip. Right here, I would have been like, nope, MACD's still bearish. I definitely, if I got back in, maybe I would have gotten a quarter of the size I had when I sold up here. Maybe half, 3/4, full position here. No way, no way in hell I would have. So you got to think about that too. Right? If you're selling up here and you catch a good top, and you're expecting, you're on a macro level thinking Bitcoin's going to keep going up, you got to stick with the plan, right? Yes, take some profit along the way, but understand that you're not going to time any dips. You might get lucky, but mostly you won't, or you'll go in with a smaller size position, as if you would have sold up here. You probably go in a quarter size, and then you start missing this move, right? Oh man, here it goes, it's moving. No way in hell I'm going to buy up here. So you're in with less than you had when you were over here, right? And that's exactly what I did. I took some profits around 30K, 29K, right? I took some of my profits because my target was 35K, right? And then I started allocating to other crypto. I started going heavy into Ethereum. But what most people do is they trade very active, right? You're burning commissions in crypto. You can't time the top. You can't get the dip, right? So you have to understand, like, what is your time frame? If you're a macro holder and swinging this, and you're thinking like, oh, this thing could see 100K, then why are you selling everything up here? Why? Yes, make some money, take some profit, right? Some profit, but ride the rest, right? Don't start actively trading it. If you start actively trading it, then it messes with your mind and it messes with your plan, right? What if you did go in full size down here and then it failed? You would be pissed. You're like, fuck, got in, now it fails, and who knows what would happen, right? But here we are. So I just want to say, like, if you create a plan in the beginning, like over here, you're like, this thing has bottomed, right? This is what I thought. I was like, this thing has bottomed. I'm willing to go in, right? So I went in and I'm like, and when we got above key levels, like 15K, I was like, okay, I think we're gonna break new highs. So then I was like, okay, measured move. 2017, high of 2017 was about 20K. Let's just say it wasn't exactly 20K, but 20K went down to about 4K, right? So that's like a 17 to 13, or sorry, 16 to 17K difference, right? $1,000 difference. Measured move. You take the high, and I think it was like 19,000, the high or whatever. So you add 16,000 to 19,000, and that's where you could get a good solid measurement, right? Which came out to about 35K, and we hit that. That was my target. I took most of my profit a little early because it's tough. It's tough to watch and hold, right? I mean, I gotta admit, it is definitely hard to hold crypto. But I took it, and I kept some on for the ride. It's all free Bitcoin now. It's all profit, just riding out. I did add on this break here, break of the high. I felt it was a good catalyst. I mean, I'm not in with the size that I had down here, but I added some, So I think it's going to go higher, and I'm going to ride and watch this on a macro level and just see how far it can take us. I mean, this Bitcoin could come all the way back to like 37K and still be fine. If we break 28,000, then I think it's game over, right? So that's why you got to understand the risk here. So I have enough on to profit, but then again, I have a small enough amount to where I can ride out volatility as long as we stay above here, right? So if we start breaking key levels and we can't get above, I'll start taking profit, and it all depends on the price action, right? You got to monitor price action. Plans change on the go. Things aren't going your way, and things are starting to look ugly. You got to start rethinking the plan, start reassessing, right? So it's a constantly evolving your trading plan, right? But for the most part, on the macro level, I'm just sticking with it. So, yeah, if you have any questions, that's pretty much all I have to say. Is especially when you get a good setup here, you got to stick with your plan. I was calling 35K for a while, and it hit it, more than hit it, right? So, I wish I would have held the full size here, but it is what it is. All right, so yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.